Hey everyone, hope you all are well. I'm back again today with another tutorial featuring a throwback palette. I'm using the ABH Soft Glam palette today. So the first shadow I'm taking is called Orange Soda. This shadow is a light to medium warm orange shade that has a matte finish to it. And I always just photograph my products before using them so that you'll see a nice clean palette. But if you were to see this palette now, there's very little to see. I've hit pan on a good few shadows, this being one of them, because I just think it works really well as a transition shade for so many looks. It builds up beautifully on the eyes, as you can see, and it blends like a dream, no skipping, no patchiness, just perfect colour payoff. So I'm just adding another layer of this shadow now into the crease. Same process, just blending back and forward in the crease using little circular motions and windshield wiper motions just to buff and blend the shadow out. Then I'm switching to a small dense brush and I've picked up a little more of the Orange Soda shade on the brush now, and I'm using this to pat and sweep some of the eyeshadow down along the lower lash line, making sure then that it connects with the shadow on the outer edge. Next then I'm taking Burnt Orange, and these two shadows work so nicely together to create a nice bit of depth to that transition shade. Naturally Burnt Orange is slightly darker because that's the aim here, build up the colours gradually from light to dark to create a nice gradient. So once I've added that into the crease and then winged it out on the outer corner, I'm then switching back to that small dense brush and I'm adding some of that shade down along the lower lash line too. And this brush is just one of the ones that came with the Naked palette, one of the Naked palettes, and I'm then switching around to the blending side and running that underneath the shadow just to make sure those edges are nice and soft and blended. Now I'm taking the shade Rustic on a Sedona Lace EB09 Universal Blender brush, and I'm beginning by tapping this carefully down on the outer third of the eyelid. So I'm holding the brush quite far down the handle so that when I'm working on taking that shadow up into the crease, I'll have a nice soft blend. So the further up the handle that you're holding the brush, the more pressure that you'll be applying, and the shadow will then be more concentrated on the eye, but I'm keeping things nice and soft and smoky today. So once I've faded the shadow all the way across the crease, I'm then moving down to the lower lash line. You know the drill, what I do to the top, I do to the bottom. So I'm just smudging that Rustic Brown then halfway down along the lower lash line. To really deepen things up now, I'm taking the shade Cypress Umber on that same EB09 brush from Sedona Lace, and this shadow is a deep, warm matte brown. And the same logic again here now with this shade. I'm holding the brush quite far down the handle, I've tapped it down at the lash line, and then I'm carefully swirling the colour up towards the crease and then finally across into the crease. And you can repeat that step then and build up the colour gradually, layer it up until you're happy with the intensity. For today's look then, I've actually just applied one layer of that shadow and then I'm moving down to the lower lash line again, just smudging that Cypress Umber shade into the lash bed, and I'm only again going halfway across the lash line so that we've depth to just the outer corner. Then I'm taking the eyeshadow Sultry, and this is a kind of dark coppery bronze and it has a metallic finish to it. I'm using a flat C-shaped brush just to pat this shadow down on the inner half of the eyelid, and I sprayed my brush with some water before I applied the eyeshadow just so those shimmery particles would pop even further. I decided then that I wanted this look to have a bit more of a pink punch, but not too over the top, so I'm taking the shade Rose Pink and I'm layering this over the Sultry shade just to alter the colour of it slightly, and it gives a nice hint of pink without it being too overpowering. Then I'm going in with the darker shade in the palette. This is Noir. It's a matte black eyeshadow, and I'm using an angled brush from my Vanity Planet vegan brush set just to line a third of the way across the upper lash line. So I'm keeping again the darkness to the outer third of the eye, and this as well is going to give the eye a nice bit of a lift. So I'm pressing the shadow into the lashes and then taking it up slightly onto the lid, and then I'm doing the same to the bottom lashes too. I'm reaching back for that double-ended brush by Urban Decay again, and I'm just using the smudgy side to run over the eyeshadow down along the lower lash line to make sure it's nice and diffused. Then I'm going in with this chocolate brown pencil from Charlotte Tilbury, and I'm just lining inside the waterline. I'm closing my eye then around the pencil, and then I'm running it back and forward to line both the upper and lower waterline at the same time. Off camera then I've added some of the Eyelure Bauble lashes, and then I'm using the shade Tempera on a small bullet shaped brush just to add a little bit of a highlight to around the inner corner of the eye, just adding a subtle sparkle to around the tear duct and down slightly onto that inner portion of the lower lash line. Then I'm using the Charlotte Tilbury Push Up Lashes Pillow Talk Mascara to coat the lower lashes, and then also to blend my own lashes in with the false ones. But then that's it. So I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. I hope you found it helpful and easy to follow. If you did, please let me know, and I'll catch you all in a video really soon.